My son stepped in front of me and blocked the doorway with both arms. "Ryan, Dad, you are not going into that room while my wife's family is here." I stood there for a long moment, looking at my own son standing in my own doorway. Then I turned around, walked to my car, and called my lawyer before I had even started the engine. "My name is David Halverson. I am 63 years old, and I spent 31 years running maintenance and compliance for the Portland Municipal Water Authority, which means for 3 decades, my job was making sure nobody in this city turned on a faucet and got something they didn't expect. Turns out I should have paid closer attention to my own house. I retired 2 years ago with a pension, a paid-off house on Selwood Avenue, and exactly one hobby, which is annoying my wife. Carol and I have been married 38 years. We got married when she was 23 and I was 25, in her mother's backyard in Milwaukee, with a card table full of deviled eggs and my uncle playing accordion badly. We have one son, Ryan, who is 34 now. Ryan married Amanda 6 years ago. That's the setup. Now, let me tell you how it fell apart. Carol is the kind of woman who remembers everyone's birthday, including the mailman's, and who once made a grown man cry apologizing to her at the DMV. Not because she yelled, but because she asked one very calm, very specific question. She worked 26 years as an elementary school secretary, and there is nothing on this earth that gets past her. Gary Winslow has been my best friend for 24 years. We met on a softball team that no longer exists, and neither of us can play anymore, but we still talk almost every day. He retired from the Postal Service 4 years ago, and now spends his time fixing lawnmowers nobody asked him to fix. Our life before all this was quiet, in the good way. Sunday dinners, Carol's garden, Gary showing up uninvited with beer and opinions, Ryan calling most weeks, less often after he married Amanda, which I told myself was just marriage, not anything to worry about. Amanda works as a legal assistant, a paralegal, for an estate planning firm downtown called Reyes and Blackmore. She's 32, sharp, organized, the kind of person who color codes things. When she and Ryan got married, I liked her fine. She was polite at dinner, asked good questions, remembered that Carol takes her coffee with 2 sugars. What I didn't know, for the first 4 years, was that she and Ryan had sunk almost everything into a restaurant on Hawthorne called the Copper Skillet, and that by early last year it was hemorrhaging money. Something like $11,000 a month they didn't have. The warning signs started small enough that I didn't think anything of them. Last February, Ryan asked me, casual as anything, over phone, whether Carol and I had ever set up a living trust. I said no. We had simple wills done years ago through a guy in Selwood who since retired. Ryan, that'd be smart to look into. People our age should think about that stuff. David, sure. Someday, in March, a woman from a title company called our house asking to confirm an appointment neither Carol nor I remembered making. I figured it was a wrong number. In April, some mail stopped showing up. Not all of it. Just certain things. A couple of bank statements, which I chalked up to the Postal Service being the Postal Service. No offense to Gary. One Sunday in April, I came by their apartment to drop off a ladder Ryan had borrowed, and Amanda was on the back steps, on the phone, not knowing I could hear her through the screen door. She was telling someone, sounding tired in a way I hadn't heard from her before, that she just needed 6 more months, that she had a plan, that nobody was going to lose a restaurant on her watch. I didn't think anything of it at the time, beyond feeling sorry for her. Looking back now, I understand exactly what 6 more months meant, and exactly whose money that plan was going to run on. None of it alarmed me on its own. I'm not a paranoid man. I spent my whole career trusting systems to work the way they're supposed to. That's exactly the problem. In June, I went into our branch of Umpqua Bank to add Carol as a joint signer on a CD we'd opened, something I should have done years ago. The branch manager, a woman named Diane Kowalczyk, who's helped us for 11 years, pulled up our account and got a strange look on her face. Diane, David, there's a power of attorney filed against this account from back in March. I told her that wasn't possible. We never signed anything like that. She turned her screen around. It listed Amanda Wexler Halverson as attorney-in-fact for David Halverson, with authority over banking, real estate, and financial decisions. Notarized on March 14th. I did not recognize the notary's name. I did not recognize my own signature, which, once I looked closely, wasn't mine at all, just close enough to pass a glance. I drove straight to the Multnomah County Recorder's office and pulled the filing myself. There was 4 pages, my name typed clean across the top, a signature that curved wrong on the D, a notary stamp from a woman named Sharon Meeks I had never met in my life. Attached to it was a second document, a deed transfer request of the house on Selwood, not filed yet, sitting in a folder, waiting on the POA to clear so it could be recorded. My house, paid off in 2019, waiting to be moved into somebody else's name. I sat in my truck in the parking lot for a long time. I read the date on the notary stamp twice, like it might change. My hands didn't shake. They just went still, flat on the wheel, like they'd stopped being useful for anything. That night, I called Gary. He picked up on the second ring, like always. David, Gary, I think Amanda's trying to steal my house. A pause. Gary, say that again. Slower. I told him everything. The POA, the deed folder, the notary I'd never met. He was quiet for a second. Gary, David, does Ryan know about this? David, I don't know. Gary, that's the part that's going to hurt worse than the money. He was right about that. The next morning, I called Rebecca Voss, an estate litigation attorney Diane that the bank had recommended, a woman with a reputation for being unpleasant to be sued by. Rebecca is 51, direct, and has a laugh like a car alarm that she uses maybe twice a meeting, always when you least expect it. I brought her the county filings. She read them once, set them down. Rebecca, David, this notary stamp is fake. There is no Sharon Meeks registered as a notary in the state of Oregon. Somebody manufactured this. Rebecca's plan was simple, and she laid out every piece of it. First, we'd file an emergency revocation of the POA with the county, about 10 days to process, and it would freeze any pending transfer. Second, she'd subpoena a record from Reyes and Blackmore, Amanda's employer, to trace the notary template and see if it matched software used at the firm. Third, she'd prepare a civil complaint for fraud and forgery. And fourth, a state bar referral, since Amanda holds a paralegal certification to the Oregon State Bar's program, which comes with its own ethics rules about exactly this kind of thing. Rebecca said we'd hold the criminal referral until we had the paper trail locked, because prosecutors want evidence, not accusations. She told me not to say a single word to Ryan or Amanda until she gave me the go-ahead. I asked how long that would take. Rebecca, 6 weeks, give or take. And David, I need you to be boring for 6 weeks. Don't confront anybody. Just live your life. I tried. Carol didn't know yet. Not the details. Only that something was wrong, because she's known me 38 years and I stopped sleeping right around week 2. I told her everything on a Tuesday night at the kitchen table. She went very quiet. Then she said in that flat, calm voice she uses when she's more furious than she's ever been, Carol, give me a copy of that filing. She read it twice. Carol, that girl remembered my coffee order and forged my husband's signature in the same year. I'm almost impressed. 6 weeks later, on a Saturday in the 3rd week of July, Ryan and Amanda hosted a family dinner at their place. Amanda's parents visiting from Salem. Rebecca had cleared us to move forward. That same week, the POA revoked, the notary confirmed fake and traced to a stamp kit ordered under Amanda's name. The transfer paperwork frozen before it ever reached the county desk. I drove over that evening to speak with Ryan alone, before her family sat down to eat, because whatever was coming, I wanted my son to hear it from me first. Ryan met me at the door, and I could see it in his face before he said a word. The tight jaw, the way his eyes wouldn't quite land on mine. He stepped into the doorway and put both arms out, like he was blocking a gate. Ryan, Dad, you are not going into that room while my wife's family is here. I stood there looking at my own son standing in my own doorway, guarding a table I'd been invited to, protecting the woman who'd forged my name. David. Ryan, do you know what you did? Ryan, don't do this here. Amanda came up behind him then, drying her hands on a dish towel, and when she saw my face, she stopped in the hallway. Amanda, David, whatever this is, can it wait until my parents leave? David, no, Amanda, I don't think it can. There's a power of attorney with my name on it and a fake notary stamp on it. filed in March. She didn't flinch right away. Amanda, I was protecting the house. David, protecting it for the family. For Ryan, for you and Carol both. You're getting older, and nothing was set up right. David, I never asked you to protect anything. Amanda, you would have thanked me eventually, once you understood what I was trying to do for this family. David, Amanda, the notary on that document doesn't exist. There's no Sharon Meeks registered anywhere in this state. That's not protecting anybody. That's forgery. She didn't have an answer for that one. I watch her face change, not dramatic, just still. The same stillness my own hands had gone that day in the truck. Ryan looked at her, and then at me, and something behind his eyes cracked. Not surprise exactly. More like a man watching a bridge he'd already half suspected was rotten finally give. Ryan, that's not what happened. She was just trying to help us plan ahead. David, Ryan, my signature is forged. There is no version of helping that includes forging a signature. He didn't have an answer either. I turned around, walked to my car, and called Rebecca before I'd even started the engine.